Welcome back to the Independent Chef. Tonight I'm doing a dish which is a very clever dish because it's so simple and it's so quick and it takes so few ingredients. So when you're tired after work, you get home, you don't want to do a lot of chopping, and this dish really exposes that, and it's literally four ingredients, and you'll have your meal done in about 30 minutes. And the dish is lamb chops with canned beans, cannelloni beans, done with a little bit of fresh rosemary and masala. But instead of the masala, you can use any kind of alcohol like brandy or wine. Anyway, let's get cracking. Okay, yeah, we've got our ingredients. I've got some lamb chops on the bone. Whenever you cook on the bone, you get a little bit more flavor. So I've got it on the bone. Over here, I've got some beans. Over here, I'm using some cannellini beans, but you can use any beans that you like. These are quite buttery. The lighter colored beans like these are a little bit softer than the red beans, which are a little bit harder. Then I've got some fresh rosemary. And then over here, I've got some masala alcohol. Now, you can use any kind of wine or maybe a brandy. This has got a lovely deep flavor, kind of Christmassy. Instead of the lamb chops, you can also use chicken or you can use duck. The original recipe is actually for duck. So we've got our hot pan. Always have a pan hot. So you can hear when you put your lamb chops in, you get the sizzle. And what that will do, it will release the natural sugars in the chops. And it's called caramelization. And that will add extra flavor. Right, so chops are very fatty, so you don't really need to add much oil. I won't have any oil. It's a good non-stick pan. So what I'm going to do, I'm first going to brown off these chops for about 5 minutes, just to get them a little bit golden brown. Then I'll add the rest of the ingredients. And the whole cooking process will literally take 30 minutes. You can see that there's zero chopping. The beans are already done for you. So it's really a simple dish to do after work. Okay, so the lamb chops have been going for about 5 minutes now. You can see that they've got a beautiful golden crisp on them. Next, I'm going to add my beans, my cannelloni beans. This is where it becomes a bit more like a stew, a little bit of a dish. It's all in one. Just let that cook off there. Now all of a sudden, it goes from, just lamb chops to a wonderful meal. Now I'm going to add some of my masala, some of my wine. I don't really measure, I just use my eye. Let that alcohol cook off. And I'm going to put in the fresh rosemary. I'm also going to then add a little bit of salt and pepper. I think this dish will love pepper. Now this will take, for the beans to get cooked, probably another 5 to 10 minutes, just to let it all heat through. So I'll come back then. Okay, so it's been going for about 10-15 minutes now. So the beans would have softened and the meat would have cooked all the way through. So you can see how delicious that looks. Okay, so this is just the final stage. All we have to do is remove the meat, set it aside. Now remember, you can do this with duck or chicken, any kind of meat you fancy. Just remove the rosemary. And then the final stage is just to mash some of the beans. This is just to get a little bit of different texture going, and also to create a bit of a sauce. So when you eat it at the end with your lamb chops, you have kind of like mashed up beans, which is more interested in texture and will go better with the meat. But you only do this to about roughly half of your beans. So this little stage will just take another couple more minutes. I've mashed half the beans. So all I'm going to do now is just let that cook down for another few minutes, season a little bit more, and then we're ready to plate up. So there you can see the beautiful end product with your mashed up beans and your lamb chops. Quite delicious.